Number 5. Perfectionism stops us from taking risks. Opportunities are brought in your path daily, but because you're a perfectionist, you will not take the risk because you will feel like you will not be able to attain perfection. Many perfect opportunities are usually disguised in imperfection, and taking the risk could have been what gives you an edge. It would have been that risk that you chose to take that brings you happiness in life. Number 6. Perfectionism often stops us within inches of accomplishing our goals and becoming happy and satisfied. Perfectionism could be a limit. This is because when we try to be perfect, we look at how everything has to be in the perfect shape, having the perfect color, or the perfect words. The reality is that many times true perfection is unattainable, and we would usually be within inches of it. What then happens is that we stop and abandon our work, forgetting how far we have come with it. At the end of the day, you become dissatisfied with your work, and this goes on to make you unhappy. Perfectionism tends to always want something to be more than you already have achieved. You are usually never content with the work you have put in, or how well you have done, and you would see that you don't feel so joyful in the end, even when the results are amazing. In this way, you will never celebrate your little wins and successes, and then end up feeling frustrated, sad, and unsatisfied. Number 7. It is unhealthy. In terms of psychology, perfection is quite different from the popular perspective people have about it. For them, perfectionism clinically is the need to do a good job even if it's a step too far. Different types exist, but generally these perfectionists tie their personalities and their worth to the mistakes they make. Then they feel less worthy, believing that others see them as less of a result of their mistakes. This is not a very healthy habit. Scientists study perfectionism by dividing it into 3 categories, namely socially prescribed, self-oriented, and others-oriented. Self-oriented perfectionism, this is maybe the most common kind of perfectionism. This roughly translates to an individual being the one who sets the high standards for themselves, often resulting in frustration if unable to meet their goals. Socially prescribed perfectionism. The difference between this and the first one is that this time the high standard that you are trying to meet is not sourced from you. It comes from your loved ones. This type makes you feel pressured, so you do not let them down. This can be very harmful to a person. The different kinds of perfectionism are closely linked with some mental health issues which range from social anxiety to generalized anxiety disorder to suicidal thoughts and even eating disorders. Over time, telltales of depression tend to get worse over birthing an obsessive compulsive disorder, OCD, that is even more difficult to treat. Others-oriented perfectionism. It is different from the others in the sense that it is what happens when someone uses very high standards for another person, excluding themselves. You might have experienced this at work. It isn't studied as much as the others, but it is generally known to be a risk factor for conditions like a narcissistic personality disorder. Not recommended for relationships. Unfortunately, however, there have been a rapid increase in all these types of perfectionism in recent times. The results from research show that perfectionism is now more rampant with recent student generations, and it is not something that can be easily brushed away. The issue of perfectionism needs to be seen as something to be looked into and dealt with. Perfectionism gives you many feelings of inadequacy. You can become obsessed with the perfect results, and after getting to the place you want it to be, it is not enough. This feeling of inadequacy also extends to others around you. You will usually take out these emotions on your team members and coworkers. This usually brings down their morale and they experience their own feelings of inadequacy due to the unreasonable expectations you demand from them. This could also make them have strained relationships with you, and some resentment towards you is likely to build up. Your craze for perfectionism may also drive your body so much that you lose disregard for your own health. You begin to lose sleep and time of rest because you want to get things done perfectly. The weight of perfectionism could lead to mental health problems, including depression. The good thing is, perfectionism is treatable. The first step is treating psychological disorders as both are linked. CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, can help with that. This kind of therapy attempts to reform people by focusing on their automatic thoughts and beliefs. It also helps with social anxieties. The good news is there are many therapies out there battling for perfectionism. So if you know someone who has it, rest assured, there are ways to deal with it. If you know you have it too, you can get yourself treated. Success is a wonderful thing, but I bet you don't want to sacrifice your mental and physical health just to have it. What you should get from this video is that as much as perfectionism tries to get all things perfectly, it may be bad for you eventually. You should take life as it comes, putting in your best at every turn while living a happy and fulfilled life.